Hello and welcome to Heavenly Album Covers. We had a minor disaster in our kitchen last night. Our old refrigerator finally gave out. It stopped working and I had to make a mad dash and gather up all the food that was in the fridge and in the freezer and put it out in our garage where we have another little freezer. And it went on for about 90 minutes. I just kept having to put food in the other freezer. And the most difficult part was figuring out what to do with our severed human heads that have been in the freezer for months. I just ended up taking them over to our neighbor's house and they said they'll take care of them. Anyway, today we're going to look at, and tonight we're going to look at, and tomorrow we're still going to look at album covers, CD album covers by someone named BENBENEK. And I first heard of BENBENEK through Julian Cope. He was in Teardrop Explodes, and Julian Cope has a website called Head Heritage, and he no longer does album reviews, but a while ago he reviewed this particular BENBENEK album. This album is called Third Party. Actually, it's called Third Toga Party from the Sun, and Julian Cope gave this a stellar review, a really good review, and I was looking all over it for a few years. I couldn't find it. There was no address attached to this or mail order information. I finally found it on eBay, this particular copy, and I picked it up, and over the years I've been trying to find other albums by BENBENEK, and I finally did over at the record meet, the swap meet that I go to every month, and a couple there had a few of his albums, and they told me they had some more in storage, and they sold me a few more, so I managed to gather together quite a few albums by BENBENEK, and today we're going to look at the covers. Now, these are CD covers, and for some reason the album cover is printed on it's actually a photo, like a photo that you'd take to your drugstore and get printed out, and all of the album covers are photographs. So this is the first one, the first album I was aware of, called Third Toga Party from the Sun. And the album covers are all pretty unique and a little bit quirky. So let's just rip through these. There's maybe 20 album covers here we'll look at. And most of the BENBENEK albums came with extra stuff in them. They were like little packages of material, clippings, more photographs, odds and ends in these little pouches. So the next album we'll look at is called The Friendly Microphone, and here's BENBENEK with a gigantic microphone. Here's the plug on the other side. It looks like it's interested in the whole scene going on, and that album came with a bunch of stuff in the package. Next up is Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Cassette Player, and here's BENBENEK. He's hovering over a cassette player here, and there's some headphones and cassettes here, and he looks pretty frightened, but very eager to play his cassettes here. And that came with a Peanuts cartoon in it. Next up is a tribute to Elton John. It's called Belton Elton, and it seems to me that it's a picture of BENBENEK it looks like he's in a shower and he's being electrocuted here, and it's just a crazy picture. Now you can listen to a lot of these albums on Bandcamp. BENBENEK has a Bandcamp page, so but the album covers are edited. The full album covers are not on Bandcamp. So here's another package. Here's an album called Tawdry Thrills, Trash and Tongue, and this is a tribute to Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. I'm not sure whose cat this is, and I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but it's a very delightful and unusual scene. And this album came with all this stuff in it. There's a photograph. Next album up is, this is called The Alphabet Left for a Spell. And here's BENBENEK. He's surrounded by letters. And the alphabet here, it's he's got a really strange look on his face. Next up is, this is called The Moon is Cheese, the Earth is Crackers, and it looks like a beach scene of some sort. He's juggling some balls here, and there's 3 of him. He might be a triplet here somehow, but it looks like he's struggling to get down the beach. And that album came with all sorts of stuff in it. Next up, we have something called Songs of the Golden West. And here is BENBENEK playing his acoustic guitar. Looks like at a flea market. There's all sorts of stuff, strange items, and there's a big van back here. And that album came with all this loot. Next up is an album called Black and White Television. I have no idea what's happening here, but there are various objects, a hammer, some oranges, bananas, there's a little plane and some shoes. And we have yet another album cover. This one's called Jesus a Go-Go, and this scene is very chaotic. There's lots of religious iconography here, and pictures of Jesus. There's a Christmas tree, a disco ball, and acoustic guitar, and there's a central image of BENBENEK with a hat on. Here's an elegant, it seems to be more elegant than the other covers. This album is called A Bread Making Beachcomber Shells Out the Dough. And here we have BENBENEK drinking a cup of coffee. And that album came with all sorts of stuff. This was included in one of the other albums. It was in the plastic sleeve. I think it's an unreleased album, but the cover was done, and this is called Up Shit Creek Without a Puddle, and it looks like he's getting out of the bathtub or just had a shower. He's drying himself off there. There's the medicine cabinet, and just a couple more of these. This album is called Listening to Paint Dry, and here's BENBENEK sitting on some speakers. He's got a gas can, and he's just sitting there waiting for the paint to dry. Most of the music on these is pretty good. It's labeled as pop music, but there's all sorts of stuff. There's a little Grateful Dead in here, and just a little bit of Brian Eno kind of a sound, kind of moody. And this album is called Soul Brother number 18,324, and this is a tribute to soul music. and funk music. And there's some stars. He's wearing a nice fashionable hat here. There's another hammer there. And finally we have an album called Charity Shop Pop. And here we have BENBENEK. He's in some sort of store scene here with a stuffed gorilla on his lap. And he's looking pretty good. And so that's BENBENEK. And as I said, you can check him out on Bandcamp. And there's plenty of songs and albums on that site. And there's even more albums than I showed here.